Hey everyone, welcome back to Tips, Tricks, and Tidbits. It's Fun Fact Friday, and I've got some questions for you. Have you ever had a client who spends most of the session catching up and sharing minor but relevant details, only to introduce the most concerning topic as the session is coming to an end? Or maybe you have a client who's speaking so quickly and saying so many things that you barely have room to interject, respond, or process? Have you had a client that shares a lot about the people around them, but very little about themselves or what's going on with them personally? Well, how do you handle those situations? What's the kindest way to take back control of the session while still being respectful to the client? How do you ensure the client still feels heard and supported, but also gets some work done? Well, fun fact, you can just pause them because it is okay to interrupt your client sometimes. It just has to be done in a manner that is respectful and doesn't cause the client to feel like what they are saying is not important. So let's work on ways to navigate this with care and confidence because situations like these come up often and for various reasons. And now you've likely heard at some point that when a client is speaking, you should let them get it all out, not make them feel like you're shutting them down. However, pausing a session isn't about shutting the client down. It's about guiding the session with care and intention so that both you and your client get the most out of your time together. But it's important to know why you are wanting to hit pause and how to do it effectively. So let's talk about why pausing can be beneficial. Sessions can become overwhelming if too many topics are introduced without resolution. Gently pausing the client can help to guide the session, ensuring that the time is used in a way that aligns with the client's therapeutic goals. There's only so much time in the session, and if the conversation goes too far off track, the client's progress may be slowed and little work is getting done. Pausing the session can also help model healthy boundaries and time management. This can show your client that every topic they introduce deserves its own dedicated time and space. And it also models boundary setting for your client, which they can potentially utilize outside of sessions when they're having conversations and discussions with others. Now, if too many topics are introduced into a session, it can cause the client to leave with a jumble of unresolved issues and with little clarity on how to move forward. It can also leave you, as the clinician, confused about which direction to go in and what to focus on first. But pausing this session can help to prevent the session from going towards information overload. Now, let's talk about the how. First and foremost, tone and wording is everything here. You want to approach this matter with kindness and empathy. So let's go over a few examples for various situations. You know, we're almost out of time for today, and I want to make sure that this topic gets the attention it deserves. How about we start with it in our next session? This sounds like such an important topic, and I'd like to give it the space it deserves. Can we visit this next session? I see we're almost at the end of our time together. Let's take a moment to wrap up what we've already covered today and decide where we should pick up next time. We're coming to the end of our session. Would you be okay with us saving this for the next session? I want to make sure it has the time and attention it deserves. Do you mind if I stop you for a moment? I want to make sure that I have an understanding of insert topic. Can I jump in for a second? You've shared so much valuable insight, and I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Can we take a moment to review and process this together? If I may stop you for a moment, can we go back to insert topic? You've touched on so many meaningful things today. Can we pause and unpack one at a time? Wow, that's an interesting situation X has found themselves in. Might I ask, how does all of this impact you? It's so insightful of you to recognize all these details. I'm curious, how do these situations connect to what's been going on for you personally? It sounds like a lot has been going on for the people around you. Can we take a moment to explore how all of this is affecting you? You've shared so much about others' experiences. What has it been like for you to navigate all of this? Reflective listening is your best friend here. When you do pause the session, you'll want to be prepared to reflect back what the client has said. You don't have to repeat back everything, but a good summary highlighting what stands out for you can help the client feel that you have been listening and that what they have said is important. This helps to validate the client's feelings while also working to bring the session back on track. Now, there may be times when pausing isn't appropriate, like when a client is in distress or sharing something urgent. In these cases, prioritize their immediate emotional needs and safety, but still be mindful of the time and wrap up as gently as possible. For instance, you might say, I'm so glad you're sharing this with me. Let's take a few more minutes to explore this, and we can continue next session if needed. Now, if a crisis occurs in the session or the client brings up suicidal ideation or self harm towards the end of the session, you may need to extend the session time. Now, crisis is a standalone topic that deserves its own video, so we'll save that for another day. Did you see what I just did there? And on that note, I challenge you to take some time to adapt these phrases so they feel natural and authentic to your therapeutic voice and style. And the next time you have a client that you feel might need to be slowed down, try a gentle pause to bring control back to the session. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for joining me and have a great weekend.